your worries then, Dame Diana Johnson, about the unrest and whether it will last through the summer? I mean, your MP for Hull, it was a particularly bad hit last night.
Well, I think this has been just a very difficult week. Obviously starting on Monday with the appalling tragedy in Southport. But police officers throughout the week have had to deal with criminal disorder. They've had bricks thrown at them. Many have been injured. And so I want to start just by recognising the role that the police play in keeping us all safe. And clearly this weekend we've had more disorder. And what we're very clear about in government is we support the police. We want them to take all the action that they can to deal with this violent disorder. We want to make sure that people who take part in this are brought to book, that they are arrested, that they go through the criminal justice system. There are consequences for people who are marauding in our streets, the thugs that are attacking our police, and actually they will be held to account. So I think that was our focus this weekend, to make sure that they understand that there are consequences for what they are doing.
And the consequence will be that courts will be open overnight to prosecute people?
The Prime Minister has been very clear that we will do whatever it takes to make sure that people can get through the court system. We've already got people arrested and remanded into custody. It's very clear that we want to send that message to people. If you engage in this type of criminal thuggery on our streets, you will be held to account and you will go through the system, and that could include imprisonment. It could include banning orders. There are various things that we will want to see happen.
And it could include courts sitting overnight.
If that's necessary. I know that you'll recognise that the Prime Minister was the Director of Public Prosecutions in 2011 when we had similar issues, and the courts at that stage did sit through the night. So I think the Prime Minister is very well versed, alongside the Lord Chancellor, in making sure that we have available what's needed.
And even if we do prosecute these people, is there room in jail to hold them, or will there just be a slapped wrist and off they go?
No, there are places available. Again, the Lord Chancellor met with the Prime Minister and the Home Secretary and myself this week, reassured us that there was that capacity available in the prison estate. We also had a meeting on Thursday with Chief Constables to discuss whether the police had everything that they needed. Obviously, they have plans in place for public disorder. They're very long-standing plans. They're able to redirect officers as required through mutual aid. So the police have everything they need at the moment. The powers are there that can be used to deal with these people, and that's what the government is sending that message out. The powers are there. The police have what they need. We need to stamp down on these individuals and the behaviours that they're exhibiting on our streets, which are causing such mayhem in our communities, including my own in Hull.
Will the army be brought in to deal with rioters?
No, there is no ask from the police on that issue. They made very clear at the meeting on Thursday with the Prime Minister that they have the resources that they need to deal with the public disorder that we've seen in the last few days.
Will you be prescribing the EDL?
Well, you will know it's a very long-standing issue that prescription is not discussed publicly by the government about who or which groups we are going to prescribe. So that's not something I can comment on.
Why not?
It's a long-standing way that this is dealt with. Because it's of national security issue, it's dealt with by the government. It's not publicly commented on.
Is there a chance of a COBRA meeting, do you think?
I'm not aware of a COBRA meeting, but as I've said, the Prime Minister has already convened a meeting on Thursday with Chief Constables to discuss about the operational approach to this public disorder. And then there was a meeting yesterday, again, that the Prime Minister chaired with the Home Secretary, with the Lord Chancellor. I was present as well, to look at what was happening and whether, again, the police had everything that they needed, and what what legal powers were being used, whether there was more that needed to be done. So the Prime Minister, the Deputy Prime Minister, the Home Secretary are all over this issue as I speak. I mean, I'm in the Home Office again today. The Home Secretary is having regular updates as well. So this is not a matter that the government is very well aware that this is an important matter to people in this country. We cannot have people feeling they are not safe on their streets, and particularly communities who don't feel safe because of the colour of their skin.
Sure. Misinformation, that spread online quite rapidly. The previous government, didn't they? They passed the Online Safety Act. Do you think that needs to be strengthened at the moment?
Well, I know that the Technology Secretary, Peter Kyle, is in conversation with the social media companies. That's been ongoing since this disorder started because of the misinformation and disinformation that was out on the internet. So I know those conversations are ongoing. Clearly, there have been steps this week to try and put community notices on disinformation posts and misinformation, but that is an ongoing conversation that's already taking place.
Is there any evidence that the government have that misinformation online is actually being amplified by hostile foreign agents?
Well, that's certainly an issue that's been raised, and we know that that has been discussed previously about hostile foreign states and wanting to do harm to community cohesion in this country. So that will certainly be discussed and debated and looked at by the government.
Yeah, I mentioned at the top of this conversation that you are MP for Hull, and it was badly hit by rioting yesterday, wasn't it? What's your personal reaction to that? Because it must be quite gutting.
I'm deeply sad that that happened in the great city of Hull. We have a tremendous spirit in the city. We are a city of sanctuary, actually, so we've always welcomed refugees from around the world to our city. There is already this morning people out clearing up the mess that happened yesterday. And can I just say, I think it's a very small number of people who caused that violent disorder in Hull yesterday. The vast majority of people in Hull are law-abiding, they are tolerant, they support the police. So I think, unfortunately, yesterday we saw a very small number of people acting in a criminal way. I mean, when you see people looting our shops in Hull, setting fire to shops, that is nothing to do with genuine protest. That is criminality. It's the same as happened in Sunderland, where you saw the Citizens Advice Bureau being set alight. I mean, that, again, is just wanton criminality. And that's why, going back to where we started, that has to be dealt with by the criminal law, and those people have to be held account for the destruction they're causing to our communities. But I also want to reassure you that Hull City Council and other councils around the country will be working now with the government to make sure that we have that community coming together and recognising that we need to be working together, we need to be law-abiding. We may have our differences on issues, but we do not engage in violence on the streets. We do not throw bricks at the police. We do not engage in this thuggery that we've seen in recent days.